Let's answer the question that Steven Jackson so eloquently asks: What we buying? What we buying?
What we buying? I love it. I love
it. What I will say is, we talked about cash on hand yesterday. I still think, like, if you remember back to not like when everything was green, but we were trying to claw back from COVID, you had to exercise a lot of patience. I think now more than ever, you need to be slow and steady with this thing and not just like see red and jump in, which is always a good thing to like buy on red. But I still think we have to be patient, but there's opportunity. So what are we buying on this Delta variant crash?
So I think that if there's two instances, if this Delta variant continues to become more and more of a thing and people become more worried about it, we can look towards some of the COVID type stocks, right? We're talking about Zoom, Clorox, Peloton actually is having a hell of a day today. It's up 6.5%. So Williams Sonoma, all of those stocks that we've talked about in the past that would benefit from people staying home. Costco went to record highs today. So those types of stocks are the ones that you're going to want to lean towards if you think the Delta variant is going to become more and more of a thing. Now, for me personally, and we just kind of talked about it, I think that the Delta variant isn't going to be as impactful as COVID was, and I don't think that we're going to suffer a significant shutdown of any kind. Maybe there's going to be some more restrictions in place, but I think it's going to be short-lived. So if you're in my camp, then I think that you have to continue to go after the stocks that you had convictions on before. And I'm talking about the reopening plays, Airbnb, oil. Oil got crushed today, and it wasn't because of the OPEC deal, because that increase in barrels per day was not of any significance. When you have 88 million barrels a day that are going to be produced and you only tack on 400,000 more, it's not really that impactful. It was the Delta variant because of, people concerned about demand in oil and travel, all that good stuff, which I don't think is going to be a problem. So I think OIH, XLE, those are the energy ETFs, but if you want more specific stocks, I think Halliburton, Schlumberger, or an Exxon or Marathon Oil are going to be good ones to go after and buy the dip on, because I think we do end up going higher. Batman Zoom, I mean, I think that demand for travel and just even domestic travel is still going to be pretty high, even if they slow down the international travel side of things. So I think that those are going to be good ones. The financials took a huge hit today because the 10-year yield came crashing down. So I think that the financials, the Goldman Sachs, JP Morgans are going to be good buys today, because I don't see the 10-year yield staying down here very much longer. I thought that the bottom might have been in on Friday. It ended up coming in a little bit lower today, which pushed financials down. But that, I think, also could be a really good play.
Yeah, you make good points. And going back to the beginning, as far as the remote stocks are concerned, I don't know if we should guess on what will happen. We could believe what will happen.
Yeah.
But if we have that belief, that just means we don't get out of what we're in. Right.
Right.
And so, but I don't think you or I are trying to bet on what the market's going to do. So if we were going to do that, we would go all in on the stuff we're in.
Yeah.
We are still taking a kind of a wait and see approach. And so if Delta variant keeps running like the Pelotons of the world, Zooms of the world, we're not going to fight it, And so I think the key specifically for this is you got to get these stocks that are going to benefit no matter what. I don't even know if you need to go to speculative anymore, because there's some reliable stocks that are just on such discount and have such high upside that why not just stick to something a little bit more reliable, steady, that you can have confidence in. So you look at like Amazon. If we go to lockdown, let's say worst case scenario, Amazon's going to go off.
Yeah, through the roof.
If we reopen, it doesn't matter. Amazon's going to do really well.
Right.
So I think thinking that Peloton may be a little bit more risky if we reopen, but I think Peloton is still good for the long term. So I think if you have a longer time horizon, sticking to these companies that are more reliable. You brought up Costco. I don't think it matters that it's near all-time highs. No. If you look at the Costco's, Walmart's, Targets, I think those are all great buys, and you're hedging yourself a little bit that it doesn't have to, we don't have to stay remote for them to do well. Peloton and Zoom, maybe a little bit more risky because we saw how this plays out. Peloton's up 7%. If it turns out there's nothing to worry about, Peloton was probably going to give that back over the short term.
Yeah, I mean, I think when you look at some of the when we talked about this, about, you know, in the beginning of the year, we both admitted to being over leveraged in tech and really kind of over leveraged in the COVID plays that kind of got us to this point. But now I feel like I'm really, really diversified and have my stocks, my portfolio is in different areas of the market that benefit no matter what. You know, I have a pretty decent sized position in a firm, and I think that if things happen to lock down, that a firm benefits from that greatly. But I think it also continues to benefit because habits were formed during the pandemic, and that's not going anywhere. They're still going to experience some pretty decent growth. I was in Apple. I will come back into that, but there was another reason why I was in Apple, big tech. I'm also in Penn National. I'm also in OIH, which is energy, and then another epicenter type stock that got beaten down because of COVID. So I think that I'm just really well rounded right now, and I got no reason to sell any of the stuff that I'm in.
Yeah, I don't think either. I mean, I haven't even looked at my account at all today. I will tell you guys, it's beat up. It's beat down, actually. But now's not the time for me to bail on any of my convictions.
Yeah.
Because nothing's changed.